I watched The Fast and the Furious again after so long. The movie still stands as one of my favorite movies. I remember the first time I watched it as a kid, never really caring about what was in the cars and what made them so fast or iconic, but as a kid just liked the characters, the liveries of the cars and the noises they made. The fact that they breathe fire with the backfires, the blue flame that came out of the exhaust pipes when nitros was activated, and of course who can forget the turbo compression sound of the turbochargers back in the early 2000s JDM scene. Watching The Fast and Furious again, but as an adult, really does hit different. I have grown and my brain has developed so that I can take in and note a lot more detail than my 5 to 8-year-old self could. I watched all the Fast and Furious movies, and over the years I have noticed a change, or let me say I have noticed how everything has changed. This is still a video related to video games, so don't get discouraged, but the Fast and Furious is a very important part of video games, but more so important to car and racing games in this case. One thing I noticed about the Fast and Furious is the fact that it had a lot of brands in the movie, and had a lot of car talk or car lingo that car people would understand. Like, here is a good example.
Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should. You're lucky that 100 shot of NOS didn't blow the welds on the intake.
And here are some other good examples.
Rec cord, nitrous injection,
4-core intercoolers and ball bearing turbos and titanium valve springs.
thank you.
3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. And on top of that, he just came into Harry's and he ordered 3 T66 turbos with NOS and a Motec system exhaust.
They actually tell you what is in the car and are very specific. This is something that didn't really carry over into other Fast and Furious movies later down the line. In the Fast and Furious, they made sure they didn't bore you to death with talking too much about cars and car parts. The Fast and Furious was also a movie that actually had good acting in it. It really demanded a good performance from all the actors and actresses. Very little dead weight in the movie. The latest Fast and Furious movies have a very big and oversaturated cast that adds very little to the plot, just jerry-rigging in any popular celebrity, influencer or musician to pander to modern audiences, which are probably too young to even remember or watch the first Fast and Furious movie. Need for Speed took a huge influence from the Fast and Furious, really using that whole early 2000s illegal underground street racing scene at the time, back when the JDM scene was at its peak and the whole Muscleverse import war had started. Both Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2 both heavily relied on the early 2000s underground street racing scene that was a huge thing at the time. The illegal street racing that would only ever take place at night, with cars that were either built for drag or circuit racing, and even drifting. All these cars were modified with either off-the-shelf parts or illegal car mods that are not street legal. I've said this before, when Fast and Furious began to change its direction, so did the Need for Speed games. The influence of exotic cars and land speed records started to creep in, with cars like the Bugatti Veyron and the Koenigsegg Agera, with both cars once that held the title as one of the fastest cars in the world. Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005 is one of the last OG legal street racing games, having a very diverse selection of cars ranging from cars that everyday people drive to absolutely beautiful looking and sounding exotic cars. It was around Fast and Furious 4 or 5 when they had fully left the whole illegal underground street racing scene and moved over to making fully blown action movies about supercars, exotic cars and hypercars. And Need for Speed will never ever be the same again. But I do understand that evolution is necessary in order to make more money to keep both franchises alive, so that the new generations of people can enjoy it. And with that, this is the Chilly Man signing off. I thank everybody for watching. Peace out.